we'll just get back into it.
Yeah. Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, for nerds, by nerds, and today I'm hanging out with the Queen of D&D, Satine Phoenix of Maze Arcana.
Hello,
Good
hello.
morning.
I miss you.
I miss you guys too. So the picture or the video quality on Satine's side isn't going to be great. You probably guys are going to see what I'm saying, which is a lot of pixelating. But the audio is coming in clear, so that's the important part. I can actually hear you.
You know what the problem is? I didn't wear enough eyeliner, so now like it doesn't recognize my face.
Is that what it is?
I'm basically at zero makeup right now.
Uh,
So you you saw it first here, live on Nerdarchy.
no. They almost saw it first here because it like blurs you out as you talk. So
Oh, I'm sorry. I have this. I think you've seen it. My really beefy computer. It's like an Acer. It's a huge gaming computer, and
I
everything
have.
about it is really, really good. Yeah, it has Dungeons and Dragons all over it, except it doesn't have a microphone. I can't even plug in like a mic like this. It will not recognize it at all. So I can't actually use it for this.
Oh, that stinks.
Yeah. I'm at Rudy's right now because it's 105 or 110 degrees in the valley.
Yuck. So you
Yeah.
guys are just coming off TwitchCon, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
did you guys got to hang out with Guy, right?
Yes. Yeah, he came over on Sunday and was on Orphan Echo. He is
That
so
that's
much
awesome.
fun. Oh, I just adore him.
And that was a little bit of a commute for him too, huh?
Yeah, I think he's here like it's a part of the thing.
As part of a thing.
Yeah.
He's well, I believe he lives in South Africa. And I believe his
Mhm.
channel is Be a Better Game Master.
How to be a better game master.
Yeah, and he like dresses up and does like all this fantastic stuff.
Yeah, I actually I learned about him when I learned about you guys and just started eating up all of his videos. He's just so much fun to listen to and
Yeah,
watch.
I remember, and you were telling me like there's this other channel I watch and it's really good, and you started describing it, but you couldn't remember the name at the time. I'm like, oh, that's Guy.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
knew who he was, and one of his partners. I was like, so I instantly like messaged them, and I was like, Satine watches you guys.
That's awesome.
That's
Thanks.
how
Yeah.
we know we've made it.
Yeah. That's really funny. But it was really cute because, he came by and we hung out afterwards, and I was like, oh, yeah, Dungeons and Dragons brings kindred together. Like we all have, it was so easy to talk with him, just like it was super easy to talk with you. It's like, oh, we already know each other. We all understand the same language and the same mentality. We're all here because we like playing with other people.
So Justin just said in the chat, he's like, you might catch Satine in the reflection from Dave's glasses.
That's funny.
So you guys, man, you guys are just killing it. You've been super busy, like just D&D everywhere is all the time. You're D&D partners
Oh,
now.
you can't see it. Do you see it? Oh, you
No,
can't see it. My giant
no.
D&D logo on my neck.
Oh, well, I did see the pictures that you shared out.
Yeah, I just showed it to Nathan, the director of D&D, the other day. He was like, oh. I'm like, yeah, funny story. It was supposed to be smaller, but I was all amped up and I didn't check it. And now I have a giant ampersand on my neck, which is okay because it's kind of cool. It like sticks out from the side. But yeah, it's I branded myself.
But now you belong to Watts, I think. You got their logo on them.
I always have. This is more like it's a me confessing my love, really.
Maybe my next tattoo will be a D&D tattoo. I haven't had any ink in a long time though.
Ruty promised me that his first tattoo would be a Maze Arcana tattoo. And then he said, season 3. However, he was thinking 3 years, and I was like, well, it's season 3, you better get one. So
Yeah.
year 2, That's what he said he'd get it.
That's not a bad tattoo. I mean, it's a sweet logo. It looks good. And if anyone just looked at it, it just looks like a cool, um, a cool image. It doesn't. It's not going to necessarily be associated with anything unless someone actually knows what Maze Arcana is. So if Maze Arcana goes away or you guys do something different, it's still just a cool piece of art.
Well, we designed it based off of the D8. So the MA is in that like diamond shape.
Yeah.
Ruty.
Company.
Ruty, someone's at the door.
So how many shows do you guys have going on now?
Okay, so oh my gosh. Sundays we have Orphan Echo. Mondays we have Anesidora. I believe I sent you a fancy photo of all of the things.
Oh yeah,
Tuesdays, you did. I did. And then Tuesdays we have Sirens of the Realms, and Wednesdays we have Fury's Fate. So we've got 4 as of right now.
So I think
as
most
of
of
right
the pictures.
Now.
Ooh, that sounds ominous. I believe most of the pictures are from Sirens of the Realm.
There's one big one with all the logos on it. And I'm also sending you another one. We have the technology. We can send all sorts of things and talk on the internet at the same time. Hi, everybody.
Let's see. I'm trying to figure out. Okay, yeah, I can definitely get a screen share of this. Sometimes my screen share is kind of wonky for some reason. I don't know why. But it gives me a hard time. So there's your awesome logo that is up
Thanks.
there now.
Yeah, so basically Ruty and I are rebranding. I've had a very small amount of time to actually update things. We're working on an update of the website. We actually sell this in our shop over at Threadless. And it was really cool because Chris Lindsay, he got one of the shirts and posted it. It was very exciting. See it? We got really fancy. And it's fun because, I'm an artist, and art directing these photos has been really fun. Graphic design. I haven't done any graphic design since May, which is really hard for me because I'm a lifelong artist. So it's been really cool.
I totally get that. Moon Elf Sprite. That's an interesting combo.
Yeah. So basically she's a gelfling.
She's a gal. Oh, nice. I love this. I love the purple one.
The good thing is like, this is a WotC product, so Wizards of the Coast owns everything. So I told the girls, I'm like, they own it. So whatever you make, they, just accept it. And they're like, okay. So we made it together. We used some of the things from Xanathar's, like we're using the Glamour Bard and the College of Swords Bard. And I'm going to go through the wizard. We have an Aarakocra wizard bard. And I'm going to go through with her, I think today, with some of the spells from Xanathar's. I don't know if anyone else has gotten a sneak peek of Xanathar's, but it's so good.
I suspect we've not gotten the sneak peek that you've gotten.
Yeah, I'm like the happiest little kid. Huh?
Membership has its privileges.
Yeah, I mean, it's all a dream come true. And it's one of those things where I wake up every single morning going, what? They haven't kicked me out? Yes.
You're amongst your people. I don't think you're going to get kicked out. I think you're safe.
Yeah, it feels really nice. We went to Gen Con, and I've been doing this for 22 plus years, and it was the first time that I felt like I fit, like I belong somewhere, because I'm always like, I'm not really white, and I'm not really Filipino, and I'm not really enough Italian, so I never really felt like I fit in there. And I'm not pop, so I don't understand pop culture, and I'm not like white enough to be gothy or whatever. So I always felt like I was this weird alien chick just floating around on like the outskirts of everybody, of all the cliques. And I get along with everybody because I just love everything. And it was this year where Geek and Sundry was like I knew they were full of a lot of my friends. And this year they were like, yeah, come on, Satine, come play with us. And I'm like, what? And then D&D is like, yeah, you know, come play with us. And then all of a sudden, with the GM tips, the dread, the, you know, the D&D shows, and the super hard work that Ruty and I put into Maze Arcana, we show up at Gen Con and people are like, thanks. I see you. I recognize you. And now I can talk to you. And I'm just so grateful. People kept wanting selfies. And I was like, I'll take it. And so I would grab their phone and then I would like take one with my phone. And it was just like so amazing that for the first time in my 37 years of existing, I feel like I'm not alone anymore. Like I feel there is a group of people who get me, that I get, and I don't have to look like anyone else. I don't have to act like anyone else. I can just be myself. And it's amazing. And it's through D&D. It's through playing and tabletop gaming with everybody, you know? And like at this point it seeps into every single part of my life and I couldn't be happier. I'm living my truth.
You know,
Rudy, your Captain Crunch is loud.
yeah, stop eating so loud. No, D&D is like the thing that brings people together, but for the longest time it was like a divider too. So now it's finally like come full circle, because in like when I hear you talk about cliques and things like that, and like I didn't really fit in any of them. And I grew up as kind of like one of the rejects. So like I ended up hanging out with all the metalheads because they would take anybody. Pretty much.
I'm a theater kid, so I was definitely like, I was a food magnet.
Yeah.
Food would just fly from across the courtyard. It was really strange.
Amazing. But yeah, so it was like back when I was a kid, it was either you were a metalhead that would secretly play D&D or you were a straight up nerd. So it was like a weird dichotomy of people that would be into this hobby.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because when you're in high school and junior high, when you're a kid, you're still trying to figure out life. So cliques happen mostly because people are trying to figure out their place in the world. Whereas an adult, you end up finding your place through what you do, right? So you have these things that happen automatically. And it's such a primal little part of existence that like 6 years, and I say six because I don't know where everybody is from, but in California, there's 2 years of junior high and 4 years of high school. And it's those 6 years where your hormones are all over the place. You're trying to figure out who you are. You're trying to become independent. You're doing all this stuff and you have homework and you have to learn how to work and work together with other people and figure out what's going on in here. And it's all so strange and interesting. And if you're lucky, you find a group of people who want to play the same types of games that you do, whether it's sports or it's tabletop games or chess or video games or whatever. And what I'm finding out now is a lot, since I started the D&D melt over at Meltdown 7 years ago, I'm finding that more and more people have been interested in Dungeons and Dragons or even tabletop and board games, and just never, and the stigma was so thick around it and they didn't want to be in that clique, that now they're just like, wait a minute, I don't care about any of that stuff. I just want to have a good time with people that I don't have to drink around in order to have that good time. Because that's a big problem, right? Like, how do people meet each other? Okay, well, normally people go to bars to meet each other because that's where the masses go to hang out. And the truth is there's so many other ways. Meetup.com has changed everything for me. I mean, I moved to Australia in 2007, and I didn't have any friends. I didn't know what to do. I mean, sure, I went out to like a club here and there, but I certainly didn't want to get to know people that way. So I went to meetup.com and typed in, I was like, okay, well, what do I want to do? I want to play D&D. And so I typed it in, and it turns out there was this little tiny game shop, and there was a bunch of other adults who wanted to play. So we negotiated over like a week and a half and figured out, okay, we all want to play puzzle games and we all want to play D&D, and all right. And we got to know each other and we became friends that way. And it was really magical and it was easy. And we didn't have to like sit there in silence and kind of hope for a conversation to happen. We're like, oh, D&D, elf, dwarf, fighter, wizard, got it. Let's go. And it's just so natural.
Even the most introverted person in the world, at some point, if they're into D&D, will talk about their character, if nothing else. It definitely gets us talking, and creates this connectivity. And like you said, the walls are finally coming down where the stigma with playing D&D isn't there. And it makes sense too, because if you think about when the game actually kind of came out and originated, and the kids that would have been playing it in high school, they're my age now. They're introducing their kids to it. They're sharing it with the next generation. It's infected popular culture as well. So it's everywhere. And not only that, like video games have taken so heavily from things like Dungeons and Dragons that and now movies as well with Lord of the Rings. So it's really hard for the normies to even escape it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's
it,
great. Like my little brother, he does all the music for our intros, for the Maze Arcana intros. And I was talking to him because he's working on some new stuff for Sirens, and he's like, "Yeah, it's so weird. I don't get any of this stuff." And turns out, like, some of my best friends who were totally normal, and he had no idea, but they've been playing for the last couple of years, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we know all about your sister. Like, we watch her stuff, and they're really good, and we really have a nice time." And here's two people that he normally goes to watch football with.
that's funny.
And so I'm really grateful that it's in mainstream, and there is the grognard is more. When I think of grognard now, I think of old guard. Like, we were there, we not first, but kind of like we were there first, and like now look at us. I don't know, it's more of like the first rung of people, I guess. Like, we were there, we set the stage, and now look at all these people who want to play the game that we grew up with.
Well, speaking of, it's like the passing of the guard now.
Yeah, yeah.
When you look at the difference of, and it's so much of it's on Twitch now. Like, you can't go on Twitch any night of the week and not have D&D. Like, there's D&D going on all the time, and with Wizards of the Coast officially putting out the Twitch content all the time. You can't.
Yeah, it's amazing. I love it.
I mean, it's just gonna grow the hobby.
Yeah, and one of the things that's really interesting is this, and I hate to bring it up because I'm not quite a feminist. I'm an equalist. I'm more of a let's be about it than talk about it. So I think it's really interesting, all the women who come to my meetup group who are like, "Thank you for making a place for me to go," because I always wanted to play. Either my brother wouldn't let me play in high school, or it was like my boyfriend let me play, but then they killed my character because they had that, like, they just didn't want to hang. They wanted to do something without their girlfriends or their sisters at this point. So it was really neat to hear about all the women who were interested in playing, who finally had a place to play. And going to Gen Con, there's a 7-year-old girl who came up to me. Actually, her dad and her brother, they all came. He's like, "She wants to tell you thank you. She watches all your GM tip videos." And it's like, it's this one crazy moment where it doesn't matter what I did in my past. We're all here to play this one game. We're in this like super awesome moment in the world where nothing else matters. And it's all about like, okay, you have information that makes my game better. I'm going to learn about it. And I watch yours. I watch Nerdarchy. I watch How to Be a Great GM, Web DM. Like, we all are here to learn from one another. And for instance, Sirens of the Realms is myself plus 4 girls who are a bard band, plus other people who come in and out. And the girls, Maud, she runs her own game called Fungeons and Flagons. Kate, so she's been playing for a while. Kate Elliott just started playing a year and a half ago. She's one of the best players I've ever experienced. She's so committed. She was the understudy for both the girls in Fury's Reach from my Tuesday show. And she would come in character, in costume. When she had to take over for Misty, she would put fake tattoos on so that she could be Misty. I'm like, that's amazing. Amy's been playing for 14 years. Vivka's been wanting to play since she was like 10, but like her dad wouldn't let her. And now she's like playing professionally, and she was in I Hit It With My Axe with me. And here's these girls who would play even if they weren't getting paid. And the fact that like we're partners, that is like the holy grail, you know, like this is like, I didn't even know I had this dream. I just knew that I wanted to have friends to play with.
It was so cool playing with you and Ruty and the Amy's and Andrew. It's just been such a great experience. And since we started doing Nerdarchy for us, we've been able to broaden horizons. Like I started an all-girl game because that was never the normal at our table. We very rarely had women that would play at our tables. At best, it was somebody's girlfriend that didn't really want to be there. It took us a long time to actually, open our table. And it wasn't like we were trying to keep anyone out per se. It just worked that way.
Yeah, I think it's really important that I express that Sirens of the Realms is about an all-girl bard band, but it's not exclusively all women. Like the show isn't all women, because that was like something that bothered me when we started plotting this. I'm like, but I want to play with all my friends, you know? And so like Ruty was on it for the first episode. Jason Charles Miller is going to be on it later. And I wanted to create something that expressed my femininity and also badassery with my feminine badass girlfriends, but then but included everybody. And I think that's one of the things that I'm not worried about, but I want to see more of. Inclusivity versus diversity. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Because it's like that purposeful not including white males because I want to be diverse, instead of just invite people who want to play that you know. Like, oh, that person happens to be black. Oh, that person happens to be white or Filipino or Mexican or Greek or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's who's available to play, who wants to play the game that I'm playing. And that's another thing that's really important. Sorry, I'm ranting right now. I'm super excited about this subject.
Well, it's really refreshing in this day and age where there's such a broader pool to draw from. Like now, if you want to put together a D&D game and you've cast the net, there's just a random chance you're going to get some of those other people in your game. Like our own table, we've had like one black guy for the past 20 years. That came about because it's not like we need a black guy or we want more people. It just so happens that he was in choir at the church where my wife was in choir. And he's like, how come your husband never comes to any of the church events on Saturday nights? and my wife was like, well, he games. And then it's like his eyebrows shot up. He games. What do you mean he games? Because he hadn't gamed since he hadn't gamed since he was in like college. And so my wife had introduced me to our buddy Mark. You guys have seen him probably on some of our videos and in our gameplays. And, he's the godfather to my daughter, and I was the best man at the wedding. And it just so happens he's a black guy that happens to play D&D and is my friend. But we met over the hobby, and we met because we both love this game and we love gaming. And we met because, he just happened to belong to the same church as my wife. Yeah. So it's so cool that, like, when we went out to LA to do GM's tips and hang out with you guys, that we took a day and hung out with a bunch of the fans, and we had like all kinds of different people there.
Yeah.
And it was so nice and refreshing to sit at a table where all the faces didn't look exactly like mine.
Well, you live very far away. This is Los Angeles. I mean, we are such a mishmash of people. I was actually thinking I would love to make more characters who were like the people I know out here, where it's not like an half elf or a half orc. It's more like quarter half orc, quarter elf, or quarter orc, quarter elf, human, and sprite or something, where it's like we are such a mixed breed of people here in Los Angeles that, you'll see someone who's black, but turns out they're half German. You know what I mean? My sister, for instance, she has 2 toddlers. She's Filipino and white, and her husband is black. And 2 kids, same father. One is just dark and curly, beautiful hair like his dad, and the other one's fair and, you know, brown hair like the mom. And they're brothers. And so I think that is one of the things that is really bizarre to me. Like racism is bizarre to me because I've lived in San Francisco, Los Angeles, New York, Australia, where in big cities where there's so many mixes that it doesn't occur to me to be concerned because it's just always is like this. It's always Futureland where I live, where everybody just hangs out and everybody games together.
Although I was listening to Lewis Porter Jr. the other day. He does a lot of like daily live chats on Facebook, and he's a third party creator for Pathfinder and does a lot of stuff. And he lives down there. He lives down in Florida, and he was talking about it. I guess because this has been like a hot topic, you know, recently now, and he's a black guy, and he's like black people get into D&D, they have a white friend, and it was so funny for him to hear him say that. But you know, there's like cultural and ethnic differences that just makes some hobbies less appealing. But I think, you know, as we get more folks out there like Rich DeFleur, Lewis Porter Jr., and a ton of other people playing the games, being more visible, people are going to be able to see someone that looks like them having fun doing this thing and be like, it's you know, whether it's conscious or subconscious, it sends a signal to people going, it's okay to do that thing.
It's been really cool. I mean, just hearing all the women who are like, thanks for doing that. Thanks for doing GM tips, because it gave me the confidence that I can do it too. And I can be different. I can be myself and it's okay. There was, there's this like new phenomenon that happened since I started doing Dread with Geek and Sundry, where people started cosplaying us. And these two girls cosplayed me, and it felt really neat and interesting. And I'm not trying to be vain about it, but what was interesting is the last girl that cosplayed me, I think she was Asian or part Asian. And I was like, I wish when I was younger, I had a role model that I wish there was a woman who was a role model who wasn't white that I could look up to, you know, and identify with a little bit more. And it was really interesting because, you know, we've got like a lot, LA is really crazy with all the plastic surgery, people wanting to look more white. And here was this girl who just had this like saucy confidence in her eyes. And she took this photo. She's like, my idol Satine. And then she did this thing. And I'm like, look at you. Like, it just was the most special. I don't know how to say this without sounding like an asshole, but like, it was really special to see somebody who has that, where I wish I had that when I was growing up. I'm going to stop talking about that because it makes me sound really,
You know, no, it's cool because you're right. People do look up to you and Ruty and people, even, you know, on YouTube. It's the weirdest thing, and it is really, it's tough. Like Gen Con, I happen to have been, you know, just like sitting there, and someone came up to me and they're like, "Hey, you can sign my player's handbook," and then like the stranger next to me is like, wow, that was weird. I've never seen that happen before. Like, you think it's weird with just seeing someone do it. It's even weirder when you're the one being asked to sign stuff.
But it's also like, there's a responsibility that we have that I think, you know, we start doing this because it's fun. And we're like, I have information that I would like to share with people, right? Like you are a hoard of information. I love your brain. But like, all of a sudden you realize that other people value what you have to say. And then all of a sudden it changes from being just this fun thing that you're doing because you're like, oh, this would be a fun thing to do, to, oh God, I have a responsibility now. People are listening to what I'm saying. Oh my God, I better check myself.
Yeah, the first time we ran a game at a convention, and there was this like this tween there, 11, 12-year-old boy. He's like, I watch your videos. And I'm like, looking at his dad, I'm like, you let him watch our videos? Do you think he's that?
I have to say that it's very special to me. I grew up in the Masonic fraternity, part of their youth group. And there we would do a lot of charity work. And it was a very community-based thing. And then, of course, in my 20s, I did some crazy things. And I was afraid that they would follow me forever and haunt me. And now for the last 7 years, it's just been Dungeons and Dragons. And it feels amazing when somebody's like, I saw your video on YouTube. I learned so much. And all of a sudden, like, I have that same feeling as I did when I was younger with this like community. We're all here to like learn from each other. All that, those videos, like, they exist, but they don't matter, because what matters right now is how to be better at what we're doing right now. And I am so honored that, like, you know, when GM Tips comes out, and like the chat, man, like the chat room has been the coolest. There's all these people. So there's always that one guy who's like, I Googled you. And it's like, oh, great. And then all the other people are like, so what? Listen to what she has to say. It literally that stuff literally has nothing to do with what she's saying right now. So don't be a dick.
You know, it's just that, like, you know, everyone has a past and everything. You know, everyone has things that happen, and we move on, and you know, we grow. Like, we get a lot of flack for Andrew Armstrong coming on the show because we're friends with him, because, you know, there's some things that happened in the past on drama or whatever. But like, how are you supposed to get people to do the behavior that you consider acceptable if you're not willing to forgive them and let them move on?
Wasn't that like 3 or 5 years ago?
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
that's a long time ago, and he has certainly learned, like, since then.
Like, and I can relate, because like when I was young, I was kind of an asshole and I got in trouble. And like 20 years later, because I got in trouble when I was like 18, I was escorted off of a military base where I was working.
Oh
and
my
because
God.
they finally got around to running a background check on me.
That's
and I'm
not
like,
fair.
you know, what are you going to do? Like, you know, well, you know, I did it, but you know, that was 20 years ago. So it's just weird. Like, you know, people are weird, but thankfully this is a really, really good community. And there's so much more positive than there is negative.
Yeah, I'm very grateful. It's like, it's not just positive, it's encouraging. You know, it's like, oh, look, there's a group and they're doing a thing, and they influence this other group who are now doing a thing very similar. And all of a sudden, those people, now they have another group, and their friends are mixing in and they're playing together. It's really cool. I'm
Now,
very happy.
I have your I actually put your schedule down in the description, guys, and a bunch of links that you can find all the stuff that Satine is doing. So you guys can check that out. But when you've been blitzing con after con. So where can people find you next?
Oh man, yeah, there's only 2 more. This many. So we just did TwitchCon. We're going to be at GameholeCon. We will be participating in the Extra Life game so Ruty and I both have Extra Life pages, so you guys can go to our pages, extra-life.org, and then look up Satine Phoenix and Ruty Woot. Donate to our cause. Mike Merles is running a game, and I think it's Chris Lindsay's in it, and oh man, Pat Kilbane, and a bunch of other awesome people. I don't know when that is. November 3rd to 5th, maybe? I think that's the convention. And then the next one after that is PAX Unplugged. And then I'm going to freaking sleep through Christmas and New Year's.
December, it's just going to be like,
Yeah.
I definitely feel you there. PAX Unplugged is going to be my last one. And actually, the whole crew will be at that one. Nate and Ted will be there as well.
Yay.
They have no excuse to not to, because it's literally like 20 minutes from Ted's house.
Oh, you will receive many, many Satine hugs.
Yeah, so that'll be a lot of fun. This Friday we're going to be playing a game with the Think Geek folks down at their HQ.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so guys, you can check that out. That'll be streamed all over the Think Geek Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube, and Facebook.
Are they out where you live?
They are in Virginia, so it's a couple hours drive, but it's not too bad.
That's pretty amazing.
And we've actually been contacted by our first convention to come as guests.
Congratulations. That's
So
really cool.
I won't announce that yet because we still have to like button that up. So yeah, you know, it feels like it's it feels weird. It definitely feels weird. Like just
You're
like,
badass. You earned it. Like,
well, thank you.
you have amazing things to share with the world, and you work really, really hard. And obviously that resonates with me.
Well,
So
that you know, that's what we love about this. Like it's the people. Like all like the and almost anything you do in life, like what are the best parts? And it's usually the people.
it should be. And if it's not the
And
people, it better be the money.
yeah, yeah, like, yeah. Then you can buy the people. No, um, we frown upon that. No, when we talk about gaming, like I do try to like kind of like pull things back and be like, you know, at the end of the day, you should be gaming with a group of people that are your friends or going to be your friends, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, you should be building relationships and stuff like that. Nothing in the game is that important, you know, as
Yeah.
the people you're sharing it with.
It's like the most magical thing about Sirens of the Realms is these girls, just for the pre-show interview the week before, they made performances. Vivka wrote a 14-page backstory. I was like, hey, can you write me a little paragraph about your character? She shows it to me. I was like, I need you to type this up. I can't. It's just in paper. She hand wrote it, which is magical to me. Um, Kate Elliott wrote a 2-page performance, which she performed last episode. Um, Amy wrote a song, and it's like, first of all, I love hanging out with these girls. They are so magical. Anytime I'm like, hey, let's get together and do a thing. Not only do they show up, they hang out afterwards. They like are constantly messaging me, ooh, and what about this? And what about this? They come over, like they all came over. We made characters together, had sushi. You know, it's just so playful, and it's it's what I remember playing in high school, where it's just like, hey, are you around? Can we talk? Because I don't talk on the phone at all. I hate talking on the phone. But they're like, hey, can we just sit for like an hour on the phone and talk about like spells? And, you know, it's like, it's Rudy and I work so hard, and we're doing all the production, and it's just so special to have a group of people who are in it because they just want a D&D game. Like, that's so magical. And every, you know, like, I guess that's one of the scary things about having a show on D&D is like, who who's there, like you want to make sure that everybody's there for the right reasons, and we are so lucky that everybody is.
You're t-
And like for instance, Dodger, right? I messaged her. I was like, hey, so I haven't talked to you in a year, but do you want to do a thing? She's like, Satine, every time I see your name pop up, I know that I'm going on an adventure. And of course, I'm going to say yes. You know, because like we've been doing the charity event for the last 7 years. So every time like that pops up, I'm like, ding dong, do you want to play? And she's like, yeah. And so I've been really lucky to have built a group of, have cultivated a group of entertainers that I know that I can just kind of like knock on their door, and they're like, yeah, let's do it. Let's do whatever it is, we're doing it.
you kind of ninja'd me a little bit because the streaming is becoming such a big deal, and gaming is entertainment. You, I always like to touch on that at least a little bit. And I also hear other people, so, you know, like some of my peers are like, well, they're not real gamers. And like,
You can't fake D&D, let me tell you. I've seen people try and they fail miserably.
that's awesome. But you know what? I actually have a little bit of a different take. Like, even if like, all right, so someone's trying to jumpstart a career in Hollywood or whatever, and they think this is going to be the thing that gets them there. I actually don't care how people come to the hobby, because you know what, for every dozen of those that you get, like some of them are going to stay and find a new thing that they love.
That's
So
true. That's true. I mean, I don't experience that because you don't make it in Hollywood by playing Dungeons and Dragons on a stream. That just doesn't work. Kurt Casares, right? So he's on our Sunday show. He is a working actor. You have seen him on everything. He's also a huge nerd, and he plays For Honor. Like I think that's his like super game. Oh, turns out he's been playing DDO for like 10 years and has a whole guild. And like, I had no idea until we started playing DDO. He's like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm legit. And it's just really funny because he just didn't have a group to play with. I mean, he plays a lot of video games. Like, I don't know where he gets the time. He films a lot. Like, you know, and it's really amazing. Kim Jackson. So she's in a lot of TV as well. And her and Ruty are very good friends. We got her to come in for a celebrity charity game. And, you know, like she'd never played before. By the end of Fury's Reach, she's like, I don't want to stop. And so you see her in this last episode, or the very first episode of Sirens of the Realms. And it's like, if you watch her when she first started, totally just didn't know what she was doing. Now she doesn't want to stop. She would be on tonight if she was in town, but she's filming something somewhere. And she's like, oh, I can't make it. I was like, oh man. And just the light in her eyes when she gets to play, it's just like, yeah. So professional actors already made it who have some extra time, totally love playing, versus trying to make it by playing in a stream to be, yeah.
Well, I can tell you for sure, it's definitely not an easy road if people actually believe that's going to be the thing that, you know, to break them. So
Rudy
I want to jump into the chat real quick.
Hi, chat.
And get the roll call going, because, you know, we're getting closer to the end here. So if you guys just want to shout out where you're from, where you're hanging out today, we would love to hear it. So you guys actually have a game coming up tonight, right?
That's right. It's episode 2 of Sirens of the Realms. And I believe Misty Dawn, I should probably text her, but it's super early here. It's like 10 a.m. It's early for LA, unless you're on set. But Misty Dawn, I believe, will be on tonight as the very special guest.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. So it's episode 2, and the girls have been working on a song all week. Yeah, Amy wrote us at like 12:30 in the morning. It's like, hey, so I wrote a song. Is that okay? Maybe we can all perform it. And then 2 minutes later, I recorded it. Here it is.
That is awesome. Amy is so sweet too. It was so awesome meeting her at Gen Con and hanging out with you guys at the Think Geek party.
That was the Geek and Sundry party. The project.
Oh yeah, the Geek and Sundry. What am I saying? I mix things up in my brain all the time. Yeah, but that was a blast. I had so much fun. Also, you know, you saying about it being early there, like also like if you think about it, streamers in general, we tend to work nights anyway and do stuff at night. So we tend to keep different hours.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I'm like, anytime I get, I'll sleep like 10 hours.
You know, before we went live, I actually had my wife on to say hi to Satine, because they got to meet when we were out in LA, and she's like, where's she at? I'm like, well, I know she's around doing stuff, but it's still probably early for her as well.
Yeah, I mean, you know, especially like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are super rough because, you know, a lot of the games go till like 9 or 10 p.m. and it's just to like, then that means that I'm up till like 2 a.m. finishing, catching up, writing, because I do a lot of writing, and especially for Sirens of the Realms, I'm restructuring the way I dungeon master on stream. I'm doing a lot of pre-writing so that I don't need to come up with the intro on the fly. I can actually get through a lot of like sponsors and introductions like really fast so we can jump into the game. And I'm finding that is so incredibly helpful. The whole, like, I know half of my GM tips were like prepare, but Rudy and I are so busy, I haven't had any time to prepare. So that is what I've learned in the last 3 months and what I'm doing now.
I can totally sympathize with you. I'm like, I should probably write something for this Think Geek game that's coming up at some point. Got some ideas. So
okay, I'm sorry.
We got people popping in from all over. We got Chris in Houston. Mike
Chris.
Gould is one of our writers.
Hi,
He's
Mike.
in Nova Scotia, Canada. We got Brian in New York City. Jim Davis from WebDM's in the house from Burlington,
What's up,
Vermont.
buddy? I really want to meet you. We should have a Skype hangout.
There's Varsidian in Australia. We've got Mars Whip in Dallas. We've got Wales UK in the house with Truemate. Soul Free Wolf is in South Dakota. We got Cleveland with web editor Doug in the house.
Hey.
GM Juice is in the house in Saline, Michigan. We got Rhode Island with Alexandra. We've got Wales with Chris. We've got Washington in the house with Frigginator. We got the OZ in the house with Raven. We've got more Australia with Narvis Black Wraith. We've got Wisconsin with Scott. New York City with Jay, and he's in Manhattan.
Wow, this is amazing.
Runehammer, Great Space Coaster. Lopez, Washington in the house with AJ Kinney. David Silva is in Long Beach, California. Cameron's in Texas. Sweden with Lurken 999. Lincoln is in Sweden as well. Patrick is in Sweden. Oh my God, all the Sweden just at once. Three of them.
Oh, it's probably like nighttime for them.
Yeah. We've got Grand Rapids, Michigan with DC Lezer and Ghetto Stabulous.
DC, what's up, buddy?
Well, your peoples have come out. We got a bunch of people in there. There's over 100. Ghetto Stabulous from Lafayette, Louisiana.
Aww.
Keegan in Colorado. Santa Barbara, California with Sean. Tesmic is in Eastern Australia. We got some more Canon in the house with Nico. We've got Sarifs also in Australia, 3:30 in the AM. 3:30 in the AM there. We got
what's up, Australia?
Washington, Elfbait, Ranger Roy is in Missouri. We got rainy Toronto in the house. You've been lost forever.
Oh yeah, it's raining like everywhere else. It's like 110 here.
Oh yeah, we've got rain too. So we've got people weighing in from all over the place. Guys, it's awesome.
Say hi on Twitter because this is amazing. I love talking with everybody. It's like I said, you know, D&D makes everything come together and it's magical. And I love just freaking chatting with everybody.
It is so cool. I woke up to no power today, and we literally got the power back on like an hour before we were supposed to go live.
Oh my God.
I was like trying to figure out if my in-laws are down the street and they had power. So I might have been doing this from their deck outside.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, thanks for inviting me on. This is like super cool. I love hanging out with you and talking with you and meeting all of the people in the chat room.
Well, you guys always have an open invitation to come on anytime you want, anytime you got something you want to talk about, or if you just want to hang out, of course, you're more than welcome. And
can you throw on the sirens? I'm very proud of this logo. I rebranded it, the whole thing. I did all the new logos. I just sent it to you in an email.
Okay.
I'm very, very proud of this one. I feel like it's both strong and girly, but also I just think they should see it so they recognize. But yeah, tonight, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Sirens of the Realms. Tomorrow is Fury's Fate. Rudy Rutenberg is dungeon mastering that, and that's also 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Sirens.
It's just going to take me a second to manipulate some of the things. All
right. Yeah, so for those of you who are interested and want to donate, we are participating in the, oh my gosh, I just ran out of coffee, in the Extra Life game at the Extra Life game at Gamehole Con. Mike Merles is dungeon mastering that, and you can check out my Extra Life on their website, extra-life.org. Search Satine Phoenix and donate. And I need to raise more money than Rudy because I want to win. There we go.
You guys have a side bet going on?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's what we look like, and that's the logo.
That's the logo.
And now you see it.
You guys in the setup?
Yeah, I'm very happy with it. I feel like it's a really good group. It's really fun. As you can see, we are laughing. I think Amy in this photo, she's a Kenra, right? She's like an Anubis humanoid type creature, and so Ruty plays a 4-person male. He's a boy band. Rudy's playing a boy band, and he plays every character in the boy band, and the boy band is called Magic Missile.
Oh my God, that is awesome.
Thank you. I invented that myself. Yeah, so he in that scene he's an orc flirting with a half orc flirting with a Kenra.
Rudy's also a really good singer too.
See, there's like I call it Secret Lives of Ruty. He's
Yeah.
like, you guys just see this one part of him, but he's like really fascinating. And like I googled him, and he used to be like a swimsuit model. And I was like, what? He sings and he plays a guitar. Like there's a lot of things people don't know about Rudy and his Taiyagami, but I feel like people are learning about that. Hashtag Secret Lives of Rudy.
The Taigami, that took me a moment to catch on to what you were talking
Yeah,
about. Is that like
we went.
ancient martial art? What is that?
It is. So for Matt and Marisha's wedding, we went and he did a special tie, and it was funny because we didn't know Joe Manganiello was going to be there, and so he basically origamied, and I didn't even know he was working on this. The hand of Vecna. That was his Mercer wedding tie knot, and it looks like a hand. It was really cool. I think he
Are there
posted it.
pictures of that somewhere? I don't think I've seen that.
I think he posted it last night on Twitter.
I'm gonna have to stalk that. That's
It is
awesome.
really good. So we were like sitting across, and he was like, "Joe, hand of Vecna." He's like, "Oh God." Yeah, so that was pretty fun.
I always said he should do a fashion channel. He would actually make way more money than doing D&D.
Probably.
I don't think it would be as fun though.
He really likes tying ties. He's really good at it too. And it's funny because we do so much production and we're both writers, but we're finding other ways to express our creativity. And
Like
that's
ties.
his. Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty amazing. So we are just coming up on the hour now. So what do you want to leave people with before we head on out?
Oh my God. Well,
Watch all the things. Go to all
watch
the
all the
things.
things tonight, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Sirens of the Realms, all girl bard band, and these girls perform. Vivka has a handpan. It is, I think it kind of is like Final Fantasy sound. You know, it's very cool. And then Amy Vorpal plays the lute ukulele. Uh, Kate Elliott plays a recorder and clarinet, and Maud harmonizes with Amy, and she has like little sticks. And these girls are so hardcore improv. It is the most delightful thing that you'll see in a very long time. I am honored and impressed constantly. And that's on twitch.tv/D&D.
That sounds like a blast. How many sessions deep are you guys? That's fairly new, right?
Yeah, like you can catch up and, while you're waiting. This will be episode number 2.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's really easy. We only do 3-hour episodes, so I think it's about like 2.5 with the bumpers on either side. So yeah, just watch the first one. It's on VOD. So if you don't watch it at Twitch, if you can't watch it live, you can watch it either like the next day or so. Actually, you can watch it immediately afterwards on twitch.tv/D&D, or you can watch it at Wizards YouTube channel. You have like over 6,000 views on. It blows my mind. Like, and it just came out a week ago.
That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, watch it. It's going to be great. And I have something really awesome planned, like really awesome planned for tonight. And I'm really happy with this show because I can really play with the weird David Lynch brain that I have, and things get a little twisted and fun. And what they don't realize, and I know they're not watching because they're probably all sleeping right now, is that I always start off really happy and make everyone just like really into their characters and everything's super shiny, and then I just tear them apart like throughout the season. Poor Kyle. Kyle's captain character from last season is now like a raging alcoholic who just like left his ship and is just completely torn apart. I feel so good.
Well, on that note, I want to thank you for hanging out with me today, and thanks for everyone in the chat hanging out. We'll be back tomorrow with your partner, Rudy Rutenberg. So Till next time, guys. Stay nerdy.